So we have seen how to handle exception using try catch and using try and finally block. Okay. Now try cannot be used alone. It has to be either used along with catch or it has to be used along with finally. Right. Next could be can I use multiple catches with single try? Yes, that is possible. Catch 1, catch 2, catch 3. So I can use multiple catches with single try. Can I use try catch and finally? Yes, you can use try catch finally. Can I use try multiple catches and then finally? Yes, that is also fine. So I cannot use try alone, I cannot use catch alone, and I cannot use finally alone. Okay, so there are multiple questions which can be asked by the interviewer from these all combinations. Okay, so try catch, that is the first possibility. Try finally, that is the second possibility. Try multiple catches, try catch finally, try multiple catches finally. Okay, there cannot be like try finally and then catch. This combination is also not allowed. Individually they cannot be used. Cannot be used. Okay, so we'll just see one by one. So try catch we have seen, try finally we have seen. Now try multiple catches. Okay, so let's say let me just toggle these all lines. Let's say I do not know the name of exception here. What is the exception is coming? Okay, so I can maybe give some other exception here, maybe number format exception. Okay, and in another catch I am giving, let's say, arithmetic exception. And in another catch, let's say I am giving exception. Finally, I don't know what is the exception, so I am giving the parent exception. And in this line, I am writing like caught by exception class. Here I am printing right caught by arithmetic. Okay, and here I am printing, let's say I am printing e dot get message. Change to number format exception. Okay, so I am having one try and then multiple catches here. Now when the compiler execute this line of code and it throws an exception, which catch will catch the exception? Which catch will catch the exception here?
Second one.
Arithmetic.
Arithmetic. Yeah. And what about this parent exception?
This will also catch that exception.
13th line will be executed first, right? Then why it will go to 15th one if it is giving exception at 13th line only then.
Okay. So will the compiler print this line or not?
According to me, not.
Okay, Naresh.
It will print.
It will print. Actually, it won't print since the exception is caught here only, right? So this will come out of the try catch block. Okay, so what it will do, it will first give you a start, then divide this message would be printed directly. Okay. So So this is giving a start, and then finally the arithmetic exception. This object caught the exception because we are getting the arithmetic exception here, and this catch caught the exception, and finally whatever is written inside this catch block is printed here, caught by arithmetic. Making sense? So in case we yeah.
The reason we are writing multiple catch blocks is when we are not aware of what exception.
Yeah, we are.
Is that,
If we are not aware, yeah, that is the reason we are not. If we are not aware of what exceptions we might get, then we will have to write either multiple exceptions or we can use the parent class directly. Okay, now instead of this, let me Control Z. Let me write here exception directly. Then why this is giving error? Arithmetic exception, and then finally this, because this has become the unreachable code. Since whatever the exception you are getting here would be caught by exception class directly, because all exceptions are child of exception class, right? So all exceptions would be caught by here. Then compiler will never reach onto this code. This code will never be executed by the compiler, and there would be no possibility to execute this code. So if you hover this mouse hover here, it will give you unreachable code catch block for arithmetic exception. It is already handled by the catch block of exception, and the same message you will get here. So if anyone asks you what is unreachable code or what is dead code, this is how you get the dead code in Java. That code will never be executed. So unreachable code, dead code. Okay. Okay, then we have seen the example of multiple catches. Now let's say
One question, Nitin.
yeah.
So we are using multiple catches here. So when we for the first catch, we are writing directly exception the class one, right? So it won't go to the next catch.
Right.
So what's the use of like?
Yeah, that is what compiler is saying. There is no use of writing this code because you are already handling the exception at the by the first catch. Right. So this all code will become dead code. There is no use of this code, right? There is no use of writing this code.
So very less we'll be using this catch, multiple catch.
I mean, basically you can handle this using exception class, but there are variations available in Java. So that is up to you how you want to handle the exception using multiple catches, or directly you want to handle using exception class. So there are multiple variations available in Java, and from interview point of view, they do ask these all variations. Okay. Now let's say I am writing here as null pointer. Pointer exception. And I'm writing here finally. Okay, so what I am using try, catch, and finally combination. Okay, this line of code, whatever exception I am trying to catch in this line, will this be caught using null pointer exception? No, right? Because it will throw you arithmetic exception, and you are handling a null pointer exception. So this line of code will not handle my exception. This line will throw the exception. Now, in normal case, my execution should terminate here only, right?
Yes.
Right. But since we are having the finally block here, this line of code will be printed. Okay. So first start, then exception, and then finally block is printed here. Okay, because we are having something here. If I do not have finally here, and let's say I am having sys out, and then and would be printed or not?
And should print after the exception.
But why
No,
will
no,
it
no.
print exception?
First it will print start, then exception.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it,
Then
right?
I think
Because we are not handling exception here, right?
Yes.
We are handling exception wrongly. It is throwing an arithmetic exception, and we are catching that in. I mean, it is throwing arithmetic exception, and we are catching that in null pointer exception. So that's a wrong mapping, right? So your program will terminate here only, and it won't print this. Okay, so it will not print end here. Okay, so that's the use of finally block. Right? So whenever you are trying to close any database connections, or you are trying to close your objects, right, to free up the memory, that time you write that code in the finally block. So even after your program does not work because of some exception, those connections will be closed. Okay, so that is the use of finally block. Okay, so try, catch, and finally, and then finally we are having, if I can have multiple catches, so along with finally, yeah, we can have that. So let's say here I am handling number format exception. Then here I am writing finally. And number format exception again is not a expected exception here, right? We are expecting arithmetic exception, but we are handling null pointer exception. We are handling number format exception, right? So eventually my exception is not handled, and my program will terminate all of a sudden. But because of I am having something here in finally block, that will be printed. Okay, let me try and check. So I started, then I got the exception, arithmetic exception, and then end is printed. Okay. So the main purpose of having finally is after everything, the finally should be printed. Okay. So are you clear with these all combinations? When I should use when, what? So I will repeat once again. Try, catch, yeah, possible scenario. Try finally is again possible. Try with multiple catches possible. Try, catch, finally possible. Try, double catch, finally is also possible. Or multiple catches, I would say. Try individual, catch individual, finally individual is cannot be used. Try, finally, catch cannot be used. So let me give you the example of this also. So let's say I am having individual try here. See, this is giving you error here. Insert finally to complete try statement. Okay, so I cannot use try alone. Can I use catch alone? Let's try this. No, syntax error on token catch until list is token. Yeah, so I cannot use catch alone. Can I use finally alone? No, I cannot use finally alone. Okay, can I use try followed by finally followed by catch? No, I cannot use because invalid record header name. So I cannot use this combination. Okay, so at this for this we will get compile time error. Making sense for you? You will have to practice this a lot because whatever we have understood so far, like the basics of Java and strings array, there won't be very less question, but exception handling is something interviewer is very much interested in this. So they will ask you what all combinations are possible. If I give the parent class first, what is the hierarchy of exception class? All those are quite frequently asked questions. Okay. Just have a look at this once again and ask me if any question is there.